This topic actually, it's something that it came up when my missus, before buying a car, you know. Missus just bought a car yesterday, Honda Jazz. I'll definitely talk about Honda Jazz in the next video. But what I've realized is that, you know, I think the word, I should change this title, taking risk, or also like taking risk and debt and consumerism. Now, migrants is coming from a third world countries who doesn't have the luxurious things that we can have in a first world country. First things most is probably political stability, livable protection, or threats. I think that is the biggest thing that a third world country does not have in comparison to a first world country, such as me staying in Australia. And when they have the opportunity to migrate or have the green card or permanent residency, they're most likely to take in the debt bomb or taking more of the risk, even though it may not, or they knowing or not knowing that they cannot pay it off, even if it's a 40 years or 50 years loan, or taking $1 million debt. Okay, because it can be multiple things. It could be having an image saying that, oh, look how successful am I in overseas, in Australia. I have a house, I have a Honda car. Many countries out there, especially third world countries, have enormous tariff or tax on foreign goods, and they go ballistic crazy. When someone drives Toyota or things like that, maybe it is possible in their country, but they have to take on a huge car loan, or their wages will take forever to save up, unlike in Australia or first world countries. You see, you know, my missus, you know, um, my missus' family member, in-laws, his sister just had a child, and the in-laws is about to go back to her country, right? The in-laws' parents was to look after the baby, and as a good courtesy or big thank you or congratulations or a farewell, you generally give them expensive or a well-known brand stuff. Chinese, forget about it. Chinese level is very different when it comes to this. It has to be make sure it's not made in China. That's rule number one. I won't get to that, but like you know, bit about my missus' background. She's a Vietnamese background, and she we walk around this factory outlet shopping center, and we spotted Lindt chocolate. I think it's Switzerland or it's a Belgium. It's a very well known, and it was like $75 for this huge bag of 2 kilos chocolate, and you give the in-law parents for farewell. Take back to your country, and they all know about Lint, and we've taken the migrants taken brand so serious. Then us locals, we don't really, because it's not much a big of a deal, because we literally born in this lucky society, right? When you're born in this lucky society, you see this day in, day out, that since the day you were born, how privileged, the chocolates that we have, the beef and lamb, the in the meat industry, and the fruits and apples and things like that, yada yada yada. It's always global standards, But this is where it kicks in. The migrants will cherish these brands that They once see that as a very luxurious item back in their home country. And also, not only just that, but also they match per dollar. So, for example, um, if they save $10 every week, or $50, or $100, and they do money union, is it money union? Union money, or transaction money to the back to the country. It could be 40 folds, or 30, or 50 times, or 5 times, or 7 times. And that's another thing that they cherish. This sort of first world countries tears. And yeah, these guys they're most likely to get on debt. They're most likely to hustle. They're most likely to work overtime. Most likely to work 7 days. Where locals, we were born in this lucky, fair go society. And I think this is something that I won't say the far right, but I'm seeing many locals are very threatened about this. For example, Chinese buying all land around the world. Chinese has jacked up all the prices. And they're going to Gucci and Lindt, and they bought all of them on milk powder, just buying all the best of the best. That's just one prime example. But I'm pretty sure different cultures has valued different item as a very expensive thing, depending on where they're coming from. For example, celebrating Christmas in Japan is to eat KFC. God knows, I have no idea why, but anywho, kind of makes sense. KFC logo, the guy's a white man with a beard, just need a Santa hat, and that's it. He's Santa, pretty much. Um, I guess when I spoke about housing and how generally how the world usually how we take from money or loans and things like that, and how is it coming from? Many of these migrants who take on this sort of risky, I'm not can't say risky, but taking a loan, not knowing, is the interest rate going up or going down? And I spoke to my supervisor who just, I would say probably 7 years or 8 years came to Australia, or 10 years, chased Australia dream, bought a house and everything. But when me and my coworker were very worried about inflation, recession, and housing crash and things like that, out of a sudden, my supervisor really wants to know how it works. And I told her that, coming from when I studied social work, these are the stuff that I need to know, because why people commit suicide, because we are the ones to be attentive, or why people are depressed and things like that. And we have to understand financially, recession, depression, or crash, or whatever you guys call it. And she wasn't aware of, she takes in notes, she takes 50-50 of the information, and I don't blame her, and I told her, like, Australia is currently triple A rating. We nearly lost it last year. The moment we lose triple A rating, it means that, if the good rating that the global banks do to you, then most likely will give you lower interest rate. It means that you have a very, very great credit history for this country. But if small people cannot afford to pay off their monthly repayments or weekly repayments, or confiscated by the banks, or you know, um, or not paying their debts on time, it affects the rating. Now, for the last 2 decades, or let's just say a decade and a half, people just literally just borrow and refinance the money to accommodate their lifestyle. And she slowly listens to what I said, and I said, it already happened before, when Australia, when we lost our triple A rating in the 1987. And after that, we got Paul Keating in the 1990s stated that the recession that we must have. Boom. When my parents came to Australia, it was not 18% interest rate, literally like a credit card. So You know, back then, getting a house loan was so easy and everything, but now it's so strict. Now, housing has on decline, auction percentage is on decline, buying new cars is on decline, retail is on decline. This is a sign. This is a bad sign. This is a bad sign, and especially for you know for credit rating for banking, to look at it. Oh, if there are not many people are savers and spend all their money or struggle to put on themselves, they struggle. But anyway, that's the topic that I'm trying to tell. Like, and I stated to her, my supervisor, where are you coming from? What is your background? India. And I said to her, look, India's having the same thing. India's gone through a phase of crash. You guys got a high percentage of interest rate. And I make her to say, yeah, yeah, that's true. And I said to her, the whole world works the same way. Doesn't matter if communist, socialist, pretty much where the same way. The society has to work functionally. Anywho, I better switch off the video as I got to eat my ciabatta tuna bread as I got only got 10 minutes to go.